Again from the 28th of January to the end of July 1858. Just a few pieces of furniture to decorate this narrow cell. 3 small beds, an old trunk for clothes and linen, a table and 2 chairs. The only window was barred with iron and overlooked a yard never reached by the sun's rays.
This is the house, right?
Now we come out onto the marketplace, where peasants from surrounding valleys have come to sell their produce, Pyrenean cheese, poultry, and also their hams, which with those of the Basque country are known under the official production name of Bayonne hams. This market used to be one of the most important in the region. Bass Street.
From the Cachot we proceed to Bass Street. On the right is St. Peter's Church, the police station backing onto its bell tower.
On the day of the 6th apparition, I was arrested by a sergeant as I came out of the church. He took me to Superintendent Jacomet's office, where I underwent a thorough and unpleasant questioning.
The old town hall is near the police station. It has been there for just a century. The old church was demolished after a fire in 1904. In its place we find today a cenotaph and the tourism office.
The post office.
We're going to go down St. Peter's Street now, where we see, as we go, the old walls of the church. On its right is a very old building, which used to be the Carré printing press, and straight after that the post office. We can also make out the old Traversière Street, which leads to Bass Street. At the time of the apparitions, Abbot Peyramal had been in Lourdes for 4 years. Bernadette did not feel very brave when she found herself outside his door on the 2nd of March, on the 13th appearance.
Father, I have come on behalf of the lady that I see at the grotto. She tells me she would like a chapel to be built for her, and processions of people to go to the grotto on pilgrimages.
Abbot Peyramal asked Bernadette the lady's name.
I asked her, but she just smiled. I have asked her 3 times in 2 weeks, but she just goes on smiling. When I plucked up courage to ask a 4th time, she said, "Que soy era Immaculada Concepción."
I am the Immaculate Conception. This is when Abbot Peyramal understood what was happening at the grotto, and he became Bernadette's most faithful defender. Later on, the abbot left the presbytery and ended his life in an old house in Langella Street. This was demolished in 1877 to build the Hotel des Postes. The presbytery has now become the town library.
De la Lapaca Brook.
The Lapaca Brook was doubled by a canal, and along its course stood 8 old mills.
Here at the bottom of Bass Street is the little bridge I used to cross to go to the hospice school.
The Grotte Boulevard was built between 1875 and 1880 in place of the Lapaca stream.
The public wash house. My mother used to use this wash house to wash the clothes of some Lourdes families to earn a little money.
Naglabandera siya.
The mill area.
We're going to follow the Lapaca street to discover these 8 water mills. Raviella de Peyrouse Mill is the first of them. On the right-hand side, Portet Lane climbs up in twists and turns to join Bourg Street. The next mill belongs to the Mayor of Lourdes, Mr. Lacarde, and is named after him.
In July 1863, Abbot Peyramel rented this mill to accommodate my family. At that time, I was living at the hospice of the Sisters of Nevers, and I often came to see my family in this mill.
This is where Bernadette's mother, Louise Castereau, died on the 8th of December 1866. On the 20th of August 1867, His Lordship Laurence, with Abbot Peyramel acting as intermediate, brought the mill as a gift for the Soubirous family. Bernadette's father died there in 1871, and his son Jean-Marie in 1919. Later the mill was given the name of Paternal Home of Bernadette.
La Bordelousie Mill. My grandmother took this old mill on lease for us in 1854, when we were on the point of being turned out of the Bowley Mill. But there was less and less work, and my parents had to go elsewhere to find some.
In 1855, the whole family were together at the Iscou Bay Mill.
Bowley Mill. I was born in this house on the 4th of January 1844. My father was 35 when he married my mother, Louise Castereau, who was 17 years old at the time.
The Soubirous couple soon met with huge setbacks because the flour was no longer of such good quality since the mill was on its last legs. They left it on St. John's feast day, unable to pay the rent.
Beaudeon Mill.
This was the most appalling of the Lapaca mills.
My parents took refuge in this mill in 1862. At that time, I had been boarding at the hospice since the middle of July 1860.
In July 1863, they left this poor mill for a more comfortable one, the Lacadet Mill.
Bain Mill.
An old mill not very different from all the others. This mill has no special history, and flour and oil were produced there.
Gras Mill. In September 1859, my family came to live in Gras Mill. My parents refused any help, financial or other, Yet they did accept Abbot Perimal's proposal to leave the castle and settle in this mill. I had a small room, and many pilgrims visited me there.
In order to remove Bernadette from all these visits which tired her, Abbot Perimal found her a calmer place, the hospice of the Sisters of Nevers, on the road to Tarbes.
Ambas Mill.
We have come now to the last of the 8 mills along the banks of the La Paca brook. This mill, like the others, has disappeared. It belonged to Monsieur Armand Soubirous, Bernadette's 3 times removed uncle, who sold it to the Bishop of Lourdes in 1875. It was situated where now stands St. Michael's Bridge and the surrounding land, on which an electric power station has been built. The Grotto Boulevard goes through what used to be Ambas Mill.
St. John the Baptist Chapel.
This chapel has given its name to what is now Quay St. John. It used to celebrate the marriages of Cagot. This is also where they were buried. Later the chapel disappeared.
The Gare.
At their feet and at the river's bend, visitors can situate the position of St. Michael's Bridge. Without even moving, the river can be seen right up to the old bridge, and on the right we can follow the arm of the Gare as far as the Savy Prairie, called L'Île du Chalet in older times. A whole area of Old Lourdes lives on here in this picturesque history. The Cagots, who were descendants of the Visigoths, were chased out of their native Bavaria and took refuge in the Pyrenees. They lived there in isolation. Cagot Lane still exists.
L'Île du Chalet.
Visitors have already discovered this island on their right, this prairie, which now forms the esplanade, where the processions are held. This is part of the grotto domain. On the right-hand side of the prairie, near the banks of the Gare, is at present Yassil Notre Dame. In the centre of the prairie, the site of the Crowned Virgin, Vierge Couronnée, is marked by the number 18. This is what the place looked like in 1858, according to documents of the time.
Okay.
Come with me once again past Massabielle Grotto and see it as I did for the last time on the 3rd of July 1866.
Yeah? 1866, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, now it's the same.
We shall now leave this little village created by Georges Simonnet, who spent 10 years of his life to achieve it. His descendants continue his work. We will go into a building where the basilic is on show, just as it was in 1870, to a scale of 1/20th. Its majestic bell tower stands above you at a height of 6 meters. Now we look at the first Lourdes railway station, where steam engine number 29, called the town of Béziers, entered for the first time in 1860.
Alors, the last explication, number 2. 1, 2. Okay, 5 minutes, okay? Thank you.
On the case. I see this but not this close. It's far.
Ladies and gentlemen, this model and the village you are able to admire outside are the work of a Lorraine railway employee who dedicated all his spare time in an attempt to bring to life the old face of Lourdes. For his masterpiece, the artist worked in plaster. This is a hard material, and yet at the same time delicate when it comes to sculpturing the least detail in it. To do this, he took some 15 years and used about 2 tons of plaster. You can admire the finesse of the sculpture in the steeple. The smallest details, such as the columns, the bell turrets, and the lines which you see going up the spire, are absolutely all out of the same block. 25,000 cuttings were necessary in the making of the windows, which are an exact reproduction of the original. The whole thing was done to a scale of 1 in 20, following photographs and authentic documents. The crowned Virgin is placed here provisionally, for it is a unique model of patience and precision. The railings are cut in zinc plate and measure 1 meter 20. It was necessary to dismantle the blade of the saw 2,500 times in order to realize it. The rosaries were worked in the same way from tin cans. Ladies and gentlemen, the model which you see before you represents the Basilica of Lourdes, such as it was around 1870. At the request of Our Lady, work began on the crypt in 1862 and continued until 1865. On the 19th of May, 1866, Monsignor Lawrence celebrated the first Mass to be said in the sanctuary of the grotto. Bernadette was present, there being just a month and a half before her departure for Nevers. Above the crypt stands the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. For its inauguration in 1872, 25,000 pilgrims flocked from all over France. Abbé Piramal, still parish priest of Lourdes, had amply realized the wish of the Virgin. On the 2nd and 3rd of July, 1876, the Apostolic Nuncio of Pius IX consecrated the basilica dedicated to the Immaculate Conception. There was a crowd present of 100,000 faithful, 3,000 priests, and 35 bishops. Lourdes had already become an important center of Christianity. You see the grotto as it was before 1954, the Marian year, when in preparation for the centenary of the apparitions, many modifications were carried out in the grotto. The 3 buildings on the left were the old baths. They have been replaced by the present water taps. Previously there were only 12 taps, such as you see here. In the corner of the grotto is the former sacristy, which was knocked down so as to clear the access to the grotto. The railings and pulpit and a great many crutches and walking sticks were also removed. The altar which you see here is no longer at the grotto. It was taken to Rome after the visit to Lourdes of Cardinal Roncalli, later to become His Holiness John the 23rd. Dear visitors, we thank you for your visit. We hope that this has been of interest to you, and that you will be kind enough to recommend us to your friends and relations.
Enjoy you.
Yeah.
Thank you.